everyone, it's Froggy, and I'm back again with another episode of C14 Dating, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start. Many of the kids clambered to the railing, poking their heads above or between the bars. They pointed excitedly at all of the archaeologists at work, or pretending to dig. It wasn't until I craned my head up that I spotted Kyler near the back. While Hendrik gestured to the roof of the cave, Kyler made fluid motions and signs whenever he spoke. Aw, the kids must have been curious about him. Slowly, the restless conga inched deeper, but Hendrik stopped where the railing ended. Even in French, I could tell that he and the teacher gave stern safety instructions before they reverted into their learning as fun voices. During the lecture, Hendrik would pause to address any raised hands. The tour was too distracting for me to focus on work, and I observed the class instead. Hendrik gestured to some of the archaeologists, including Deandre.
Salut, je m'appelle Deandre. Je creuse pour l'art.
The kids laughed and shouted something to Deandre, who pretended to be surprised. Once the excitement died down, Hendrik glanced in my direction.
Hey Melissa, we mentioned we had an archaeologist from around the world working here. Say hi for us.
Smiling widely, I waved and stood on my tiptoes to give them a better view of me. Bonjour, je ne parle pas français. I'm from America. There was a chorus of laughter, probably from my silly voice and terrible accent. Hendrik nodded happily and returned to the students. A girl next to Kyler pointed at me and mouthed something. Kyler made a few gestures with his hands, and I had a sneaky suspicion that it was about me somehow. While Hendrik mentioned Neanderthals, I saw Deandre creeping behind Shoji's square, which was out of view to most of the students. He watched the group as if waiting for the perfect cue to strike. What's that idiot planning? Before Hendrik could finish his sentence, there was a loud roar, followed by heavy stomping. Deandre emerged from the catwalk, lunging in a wide stance with arms raised above his head. The kids squealed happily in a mix of surprise and pretend fear, while Hendrik watched in bewilderment. Kyler straightened himself up, not impressed with Deandre's antics. He unleashed a stern line of words before pointing at Deandre accusingly.
Deandertal.
Quoi? The children erupted in laughter, and even Hendrik doubled over, one hand clutching his stomach as he leaned against the railing. It was Deandre's turn to be confused, and the two started their rapid-fire banter. The teacher tried to calm everyone down since Hendrik was unable to speak. Finally, Hendrik recovered, still chuckling between breaths, and motioned for the class to exit the cave. The teacher repeated Hendrik's instructions, and the teacher slowly filed out, this time led by Kyler. Before they completely vanished, Hendrik said something to Deandre. Deandre was startled, but followed Hendrik, leaving us alone in a silent cave. Well, almost silent. Many of the students chuckled, murmuring softly as they spoke about the events that occurred. The buzz was over, and I inserted my earbuds, preparing to excavate seriously. Still, that was rather entertaining. It seemed like everyone involved with the tour was having fun, including, dare I say, Kyler too. An hour later, Kyler returned and resumed his excavation. My curiosity won over, and I patted him on the shoulder.
Yes?
Sorry, I was wondering how it went. How did the rest of the tour go?
It went really well. Even with Deandre's antics. He's good with kids. Probably he's childish himself, and kept them entertained. This year has been a truly interesting experience.
Oh, in what way?
I've been talking to the other students more. First you, Shoji, even Deandre. I never expected Hendrik to ask me to help out with the tour either. It's a bit overwhelming at times. I'm not used to socializing, but I don't mind it.
Even so, I think you've been doing a good job. I'm not great at explaining things, but you seem more relaxed than when we first met.
It's something I have to work on, but thank you.
Oh, look at him blushing, he's so freaking cute! Feeling our conversation die down, we returned to our tasks. He was still as diligent as ever. I'm glad he opened up a little during this excavation. He's got the cutest blushing face.
Ugh, terrible at socializing today. In the lab.
Yay, success.
Good. I'm always happy. So 13 toothpicks? Alright. 15 toothpicks? Not bad. You didn't do a very good job today. You suck. Oh well.
Can't win them all. This bone looks fragile at the ends. I'll just wipe the middle then. Once I was done, I wrote down its identification, then placed it into the cup next to me. Looks like you're settling in the lab just fine. Thanks. At least bones aren't falling apart in my hands.
They do require that delicate touch. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Did Hendrik or Augustin tell you about the history of Callan Cave?
Augustin did. I didn't know its discovery was so interesting.
Interesting? It seemed like a standard procedure to me.
Wait, then a lot of caves here were discovered by kids?
Kids?
Augustin said kids found the cave after they watched a movie about an exploring archaeologist.
He told you that? 9. Callan was discovered by cavers during a survey back in the 80s. There's a lot of caves in this region, and they were mapping them out. Looks like you fell for one of his jokes.
Seems so. Thanks for clearing that up.
No problem. Augustin tends to spin things once in a while. Don't take him too seriously. Unless it's about microstratigraphy.
Right.
Ugh. Why are we sucking? Oh, we had 100% and now it's gone. It's so depressing. Oh, it's 100 again. That's good. No! Failed the cave. Alright. It's another long one, so I'm gonna go ahead and skip this. Okay, and we're back. So this should be it. And it is.
Awesome.
Good. Cave painting. Oh, I see it. Alright, that's cool. I love pictograms. They're so fun.
I stared at the wet screen, one hand swishing the drenched tray, while the other held the water hose. Dirt and debris vanished through the holes, leaving the large objects for examining. Nothing stood out at first. A few bone fragments I overlooked. I casually dropped them into the plastic cup and returned to my search. I picked up a rock with a cream tinge to it, admiring the color before I noticed smooth grooves on one side. Any curiosity I had plunged to the pit of my stomach when I realized what it was. Oh no. I found a flint in my tamisage. Calm down, Melissa. It's not like you're the first person to do this, or the last. It happened to Joan recently, and another student did the same thing. Still, it sucks. I turned it over and raised an eyebrow when I noticed lattice cracks on one side. It looked as if it was shattered inwardly.
Did you find something particularly interesting in your tamisage, little flower? Oh, did we stop saying petit fleur?
I nearly dropped the specimen and tottered on the concrete block. Oh, Augustine. Yeah, I guess I did. Before I could plop it back onto the tray, Augustine extended his hand. I reluctantly surrendered the flint, dreading his reaction.
Do you have any idea what you have found?
Flint? His hand squeezed the stone briefly before displaying it, one finger tracing the fractures.
Burnt flint, Melissa.
He stole a glance at my cup, which had its layer 3DRG clearly marked with a black marker.
And we had yet to find one in this layer. Now one has turned up and lost context in this tamisage.
Disappointment flickered on his face, and I turned off the faucet, anticipating a lecture. At least I was able to pinpoint which layer it came from.
Yes, but we will never know how it was positioned. Can you explain what kind of layer you were working on?
It's during a cooling period, and there's more clay sediments. It's roughly 120,000 years old, give or take.
It's also during a time that we have little information on. Everything we find is extremely important, and finding it in context will help us piece it together what happened all those years ago.
Right. Hendrik went over this with me when I didn't fill out the grid. Is there anything significant about Bert Flint? Gosh, I was at square one again with my amateur questions. No matter how much I learned, it felt like it was never enough.
If Flint is heated up to 450 degrees Celsius, its previous irradiation is erased. We can then date it to the last time it was used in a hearth or fire. However, it is heavily contaminated at this point, and being able to accurately date it would be nigh impossible.
Well, we know the layer's age, so we could safely guess.
Melissa, do you even understand the gravity of this find? The layer's age does not always equal the age of the object. Without its position recorded, we have no idea how it ended up in this layer. I'm severely disappointed in you. We assigned your square since Sherry's students have always performed outstandingly, and I thought you would be no exception.
There was a shuffle as Shoji entered the room from outside. He must have sensed the tense atmosphere since he timidly walked past us. We exchanged glances, and he seemed unsure of what to do. He stalled, but Augustin picked up on it. He barked something in French, and Shoji flinched. Like a puppy being dragged into the night rain, Shoji unwillingly exited the room. After he disappeared, Augustin tapped the metal rim of the screening platform to catch my attention. The lecture continued for a good 15 minutes, and I felt horrible for anyone who wanted to wet screen or merely passed through. Finally, it reached a merciful conclusion.
Here, I'm returning this to you.
You sure you don't want it?
No, it is part of the wet screening finds now. It would have been crucial if it was found in its original position.
He left, and I guttily dropped the flint into the cup, feeling it was too profound to be mixed with bone shards. It would have been better if I had overlooked and accidentally tossed it away. I chewed my lip bitterly as I tried to focus on the wet screen, but my concentration was broken. Sometimes my vision blurred from the pressure behind my eyes. Defeated, I managed to give the wet screening one more look before I turned the tray over and dumped the rest of the debris into the pit below. People walked out of the cave, and a simple glance at the clock indicated that it was noon. Maybe some lunch would calm me down. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos from me, then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.